Thank you everybody for coming back. And now can we introduce, and I'm introducing now, the inspirational Ella Francis Talent, who will be talking about employment for autistic people.
Why are different? Asperger is not a remark on a page. It's not rub us out. Overwhelmed by society created for us, around us, we're drowning, but not dead yet. Surviving, we must rise, in a rainbow, a spectrum, each colour different but similar. Like indigo and violet, yellow and orange. It's unique and have their own pigments. So don't try and number us into one, and there's all the same mark. Our brains are wired different. You have to feel like an outsider if you don't fit in your box. You have to feel like an intruder, but we shouldn't be. Don't push us down and say not now. Don't mute or pause us. Instead, press play and give us a voice. I am Ella Francis Sanderson, aged 21. I would say I'm religious, I'm very caring and very giving, and I love to look after young children. I'm very creative because I like to write poetry. I like to speak of things that inspire me, like nature and peaceful things and religion. But also I like to write about things that annoy me and want to change, like my struggles. And yeah, that's me really, I think. Asperger's is similar to autism. It's to do with your brain. Our brains are wired differently to neurotypical's brain. Our brains work like 10 times faster than your brains do. And sometimes you think that will be easier, but it's not. It's not always a good thing. My Asperger's is not the same as somebody else's Asperger's. I might have similar traits, but not the same. I can just say how it is for me. I think my poetry is a gateway into Asperger's. People can see a bit about what Asperger's is like. Also, I think that a gateway into me being able to talk, because I don't really find it easy to talk to people when I have a conversation. It gives me a space to be able to talk. People need to hear our voices because we're not heard, and so it's a great chance through poetry to hide behind the poetry and write, because you may be scared to talk to somebody, you may be scared to eye contact, but poetry, you can just write it. Just your space to get it out there. Delete her. It's exhausting, says Asperger's. I try to make them see. I'm not a burden. I'm allowed to ask several times if I don't understand. Shh, said Ella. Quieten down. I'm not what they think I am, Ella. They tell me I am one thing when in fact I am another. Don't drown me out, Asperger's. I am you, he retorted, all of you. Asperger surrounded her, filled her lungs. She was tight, heavy. Asperger's were only a part of her. She wasn't going to let it delete. The only bits were just Ella that were left. I wouldn't say that things are easy with Asperger's. I would say that I have lots of talents that are me that are part of just being Ella, because I feel like there's Asperger's and there's also you. So you have Asperger's brain that does everything in Asperger's way, but you also have the talents and things that are you. One thing that I do find easy, actually, I'm okay with fighting for my rights and standing up for myself. I'm used to standing my ground. Also, I do have really good hearing, so that's quite a good Asperger's trait. So actually, that's the second thing. What's difficult with Asperger's is we don't fit into society like we meant to do, because you feel like society's made up for people who are neurotypical, so it's not really made up for us. That's why it's difficult. Disability at work. You have Asperger's. We just put you on our website to boost their ego, to make them seem disability conscious when in fact they're not. They push you down to the bottom of the pile of disabilities that sit and gather dust in the corner, like tins of discarded paint. Different. What is that? Fall into place, into line. So much paint on a canvas. I blur. I experience difficulty with Asperger's every day. I'm trying to find work at the moment, and I've really struggled to. I have experienced lots of discrimination. I think if you want to work with someone on the spectrum, or you've got a friend or family member, just get to know them, spend time with them and see how they take what makes them buzz. And people who've got to know me are the best people who help me. People who just come in and offer advice, and they don't really know me and don't really know what makes me tick. Like at school, people would just say, you need a separate room that you're like, shout it out loud and make me feel different. I didn't want to feel different. And people who actually have listened to me, got to know me, and become close to me have been the best help. So just get close to the person with autism. Don't be scared of them. They're just human like you are. Oh, my brain works 10 times faster, and you might think that is easy, and that's like a really good thing, but it's actually not, because it means I get really tired. My brain goes round on a loop on certain topics, and you've got to find a way of cutting that loop. And so I have a thing where I cut a string, and I use a string, and I cut a string so my topic can end. I get stuck on things, and it won't stop, and it won't stop, and it won't go away. Washing machine brain. Spin and spin, swirl and swirl, never ending. Into the darkness you go, no map to be found. Lost. I am an advocate for people with Asperger's and autism. I do that by writing poetry that hopefully will share my experience, but also it will help people who don't know about Asperger's and autism could be experiencing on the spectrum. I would just say one thing to people with Asperger's and autism, like, try not to give up, and with the right support you can live a great life and be part of this world, even though people won't shut you out. So, keep going. You're valuable.
You've been listening to Wired Different, A Window into Asperger's, written and performed by Ella Sanderson. With thanks to Fiona Inwood-Allen. It was a Naked production for Tyneside Cinema, part of New Creatives, which is co-funded by BBC Arts and Arts Council England.
Employment on the spectrum. My employment experience. Introduction. If you couldn't hear the audio that was just played, it's on my website, and I'll share this at the end. My name is Ella. I'm 25 years old and I have a form of autism. I've been in and out of paid work since I left college in 2017. I started off looking for work in childcare, and this is a qualification that I left college with, and I really enjoyed my course. I left college with Level 3 Salary Certificate in Child Learning Play and Development. Bad experiences. I started applying for jobs in childcare, thinking that employers will accept me as I am, want to employ me and support me, but I was so wrong. I hardly ever knew until I got to the interview if the job was displayed confident, and sometimes I didn't even know until I was in the job. This meant I would have job interview where having autism was a barrier. An example of this was where a nursing manager said they'd rather employ somebody who didn't have a disability, and there were other places who could deal with this instead of them. Bad experience continued. Another example of this, when I was working in a local nursery. The manager said in the meeting, she went from her website, people could see they were employing someone with Asperger's, but when I asked her for help with my difficulties at work, she was unable to help. I used to go into interviews thinking that my homemade reasonable adjustment sport needs card would get read, but often it would go in the bin. Bad experience continued. As childcare was proving tricky to get into, I applied for shop jobs too. I did not find the application process inclusive. I had to get my brother to help me get through the online scenario-based questions so I could hopefully get the interview process, as there was no alternative option for people like me who are disabled who think differently from most of society. There are not enough adjustments in the world of work for people with autism, and this starts from not having enough job sites with disability confident jobs on, to the interview process not being adjusted to your needs, and then the job being unsupportive if you get it. So now I'm going to talk about good experiences. Good experiences. I've decided to talk about good things that happened to me in the world of work for the rest of my talk, including some tips for employees and employers. One example of a good employer was a preschool that I worked for. As soon as the manager knew I was coming in for interview, she made sure the interview fit my needs. She found out that I liked informal interviews with less intense questioning. She interviewed me on one of the preschool chairs while children were playing. Once I got the job, the manager wanted to help me be able to speak to them and ask what I wanted. So she suggested that I have a book. I had a book in a drawer where I wrote my concerns and questions down in it, and every week she'd check this book. She wanted me to learn new things. She would sit down for regular meetings where she would go through new things with me and give me tasks to do and challenge me and help me progress on. She gave me regular supervisions and asked me how I was in the morning and when I came in, and me and her built a relationship in the way that worked best for me, not just her. Another job that I'd like to mention is my current project work. I'm currently doing some project work for charity, social media, and ambassador work. My manager lets me WhatsApp her or voice note her any of the thoughts I have, and she gives me a weekly call where she sets out a plan for the week. And because she knows me, she knows if the week will be easy or hard for me, and lets me know this, and I can plan breaks, etc., and my rest time. And she's always trying to progress me, training when she can, did Excel training recently, and she praises me regularly on how good I'm doing to support me to keep going. So, now I'm going to talk about some tips for job seekers with autism or employees. So, first of all, for job seekers, people in a job, there are some things that I found helpful when in employment and job searching, and it might be helpful for you too. So, 1, have an employment card from a service like AIM, you can see today, that can show you in the interview, or once you get a job, has your support needs on. 2, have an advocate who speak for your needs in meetings with employers if they listen to you. So if employers not listening to you in a meeting, maybe you have an advocate, maybe Avanet, who's with AIM, can help you with that. 3, try Even Break, the job site, to see if they're having any jobs listed that fit you. All the jobs listed are meant to be supportive, so on the Even Break job website is meant to be supportive jobs. So it's a job website for people who are disabled, have autism, learning difficulties, that sort of thing. 4, if you're not sure what support needs you need, the West Yorkshire Autism ADHD Review that I work for will be producing a menu of ideas this soon, so that might be able to help you, so watch your space with that, and the link's on there. 5, ask for the interview question in advance. Only adjustments you need for the interview. So I email them and say, what are the questions? Can you tell me in advance? So they know. But some people might not want that. They might want, to know what the room's gonna be like, or if they can have it set time of the day. You can maybe ask for that and see what they say. And I found 6. Scope Disability Charity might be helpful in getting you a job, and they have a jobs board too. I found that the coach I had from Scope, they would speak to employers for me and see if they could spot me if I would get a job. So they'd the person I had at Scope, they'd contact an employer and say, would you be able to do these needs if you got a job? And if they said no, then I'd be like, well, I'm not going to apply there. So it saves time, you know who's supportive and who isn't supportive. So I hope they're helpful for job seekers. I'm going to go on to employers now. So tips for employers. Review how disability confident you actually are. Don't just have the badge on your website. Sometimes you have the badge, disability confident, but actually you're not properly, and for people with autism, they find that you're not. So review it, please. And think seriously and willingly about employing someone with disability. Don't just cast us off and think we're not going to employ you. Think about it. And 3, if someone needs for support in the workplace, see it as a strength, and then get to know their needs, how best you can support those. So this is an important one. Consider having after what I said about shop jobs, consider having an alternative application process for people with disability, or you could ask candidates what sort of they would like and offer suggestions. 5, ask the candidate if they need interview support, or think about your interview process. So again, give them options. So tell them what the interview is going to be like, and give them a contact number or email you can use for any further questions, like the questions I said about at the beginning. And 6, if you see someone is struggling, not performing well, then reach out and chat to them. As sometimes, if you don't talk to you, they may have a need that they don't know about, or a disability you don't know about. 7, learn about different disabilities and write on your website. If you feel confident to apply to you, for example, say you train autism and understand what it is. So my idea with this is like, if a job said that it's trained in autism, I might feel more comfortable to apply to you. I feel like I want to apply to you, you know, or train ADHD or train in Tourette's, you might want to apply to that person because they're supposedly going to be know about it and how to help you. So that would be a good thing employers can do. And so I'm going to summarise now. The world of work has a long way to go for it is how it needs to be for people with autism. People who have autism, are autistic, often need and deserve work. It helps them to have a routine, progress their skills, and can, if done right, boost their mental health. And people often think, well, we don't need work, you know, it can be benefits, but having a job often helps us to feel routine. And I know that when I've had work, my mental health's gone up and up in a really good way. So employers need to create an environment, people like me, with Asperger's or any kind of autism, where they can progress in and want to work in. Employers need to give people like me a way in and a way up. People with disability can, and they will be a great asset to your team. So, yeah, employers need to think about that, think about everything I've said, because it can be a great asset to your team, and we can, you know, not hinder it if you help us. You can actually make it better. And so, I'm a poet, and I write about poetry from my autism, and so these are the ways that you can find me. Yeah, and also I do advocacy work now, so if you want to talk to me about autism or poetry, let me know. But that's my talk done. Thank you.